Assalamu alaikum students. I am Miss Aisha Abid from Army Public School and College, Khanewal. Today I welcome you all in our class 9th subject biology week 6 by AppSex online support program. Topic 1 and teacher is Miss Aisha Abid. Our topic today is component of human food, including lipids and proteins. Objective: we will be able to understand the concepts of lipids and proteins as component of human food. Just have a quick review of what we have learned in our previous lesson is that we learned the major components of food, including carbohydrates. Our list will be including proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals, and water. We learned about much about carbohydrates, which are sugars. They serve as a source of energy. We will learn today lipids and proteins. Lipids are also known as fats. Coming towards our first topic, which is lipids. Lipids, they are composed of two basic components, including fatty acids and glycerol. This is a structure. Here, the glycerol head is present and the fatty acid, two fatty acid chains are included. In our upcoming slide, we will elaborate this concept. Fatty acid, there are two main types of fatty acids. They can be either saturated fatty acids or unsaturated fatty acids. Saturated fatty acids, they have single carbon-carbon bond, while unsaturated fatty acid, they have double carbon-carbon bond. The way you can remember is that S stands for saturated and S stands for single. So saturated fatty acids will be having single carbon bond, while unsaturated fatty acid will be having double carbon bonds. For example, butter contains 70% of saturated fatty acids and 30% of unsaturated fatty acids. It means that majority of them will be having single bonds, while they will be 30% of unsaturated fatty acid. Another example is sunflower. It is an oil and it is example of unsaturated fatty acid. Unsaturated fatty acid, they are generally liquid, as you can see here. Now, there are some fat facts. Saturated fatty acids, they are solid at room temperature. S stands for solid and S stands for saturated. So, they are solid at room temperature. Mostly, they are obtained from animal food, such as all the animal fat. Too much of those saturated fatty acid may trigger heart diseases. On the other hand, unsaturated fatty acids, they are liquid at room temperature, for example, oils, and they are obtained from plants, different vegetables such as sunflower and marine soil or sources. Most of us, we need to reduce the total fat intake, especially food that are highly in saturates or solid fats are replaced. We have to replace them with unsaturated fatty acids, especially omega-3 fats or oils. There is a difference between saturated and unsaturated fatty acids. Saturated fatty acids, they are the type of fats that have predominantly single bond between the molecules in the fatty acid chain. While unsaturated fatty acids, they are the type of fats that have double bonds between the molecules of fatty acids. Saturated fatty acids, they are solid at room temperature, while unsaturated fatty acids, they are liquid at room temperature. Further, lipids, they are found in membranes of many cells. Lipids are also used to form cell membranes. These are surrounding the neurons, which are present in brain and spinal cord, and they are the part of various hormones. Lipids, they are also used as energy source because we got them in our food. So lipids, they are the source of energy. Carbohydrates, we already said one carbohydrate molecule, they are giving us 4 kilocalories of energy per gram, and lipids, they give us 9 kilocalories per gram. It means that lipids get us more energy. Sources of lipids including avocado, salmon, this is a fish, egg yolk, olives, chia seeds, nuts, sunflower seeds, and peanut butter. There's some sources from which we can get our fatty acids or lipids. Saturated fatty acids, they may increase blood cholesterol level, and increased cholesterol level may eventually result in clogging of our arteries and ultimately different heart diseases. Coming towards our next topic, which is proteins, they are composed of amino acids, small units. For example, you can see here one amino acid. This is second, third, fourth different amino acid. They join together to give us a long structure called proteins. The proteins are the essential components of cytoplasm, membranes, different organelles, muscles, our ligaments, and tendons also. So, human body is made up of 15% of fats or fatty acid, while 20% of body is composed of proteins. Proteins, they are the chains of several hundred amino acids. You can see here different amino acids, they join together to form proteins. And different amino acid, they have each amino acid is very specific. As you can see here, different types, 20 types of amino acid, they join together again and again to form long molecule of protein. Role of proteins may also play role in enzymes. They can also be used to gain energy. Obviously, 1 gram of protein will be giving us 4 kilocalories per kilogram, which is much less than the energy which we gain from the lipids. But this energy is equal to the same energy that we get from the carbohydrates. Sources of proteins are meat and fish, cheese, eggs, beans, bread, humus, and nuts and different seeds. Let's have a look at this video to get our
which are commonly called fats, have more calories per gram than the other macronutrients. So you can think of them as energy-dense nutrients that are a perfect source of sustainable energy when you need some endurance. Like carbs, there are different types of fats. Saturated fats, like butter, are solid at room temperature. Unsaturated fats, like vegetable oils, are liquid at room temperature. As for proteins, they do contain calories, but because proteins are so important for growth, development, and repair, your body uses them as a last resort source of energy. You get proteins in a variety of animal and plant foods, with meats and beans being good sources. Your body then breaks these protein-containing foods down into amino acids, which are the basic building blocks of proteins. The amino acids are then reassembled into thousands of different types of body proteins.
So that was our today's lesson, in which we learned about lipids. There are two main types of lipids: saturated fats and unsaturated fats. Fats are also known as lipids. Then we learned about proteins. What are proteins? They are the amino acid which are joined together to give us the protein. And lipids and proteins, they both can be used as a source of energy, as we have seen. Let's have a look at this video.
Next one up is a diverse group known as lipids. Lipids are better known as fats, and they have two different types of building blocks. One type of building block is called a fatty acid, and the other type is called a glycerol. Now, examples of lipids include butter, oil, and cholesterol. Lipids, though, they have a lot of great functions. You might think, well, that's fat. How good can fat be? Well, it just depends when you put it into context. For example, you know those really adorable seals that you see on calendars? They have this fluffy white hair. They're actually called a harp seal. Well, they only look like that when they're babies. When they get older, they're not quite as cute. In their little baby stage, they actually have a lot of this hair that they're born with that keeps them warm. But over time, they have to develop blubber. It's fat, and it helps keep them warm. Lipids are great for insulating. Also, you might not think about fats as being related to energy, but fats are a great source of long-term energy. They can store energy for a long, long time. Say, for example, you wanted to swim the English Channel. That's like 21 miles of swimming. The fastest swimmers might be able to do that in 7 or 8 hours, but it might take a lot longer than that for the average swimmer. More like 25 hours, and that's a lot of swimming. Well, you would want to make sure that your body has enough lipids, enough stored fat that it can pull upon. Because after you burn off those carbohydrates, remember, carbs are the fast source of energy, well, you might not have enough energy storage unless you have some lipids on hand. Lipids also make up cell membranes, so they are very important for life because all living things are made of cells. Of course, an excessive amount of lipids could be a bad thing for your health. Remember, it's all about moderation. Okay, next, proteins. Now, when you hear about proteins, a lot of times you might think about power bars. They say they have a lot of protein in them and that they help with muscle building. Well, Protein is great for muscle building. Examples of foods that are high in protein include meats and many types of beans. The monomers of protein are amino acids. So sometimes you see these labels that say, this has 20 amino acids in this food. And really, they're just trying to say that it has protein, because proteins are made of amino acids, so that's just some fancy advertising for you. But in addition to being important for muscle development, protein is also very important for other functions, such as working in the immune system and acting as enzymes. Remember, enzymes are made of proteins, so proteins are important for the body.
So that was all for our today's lesson. I hope you understand the concept of lipids and proteins very well. And if you have any question, feel free to ask. And thank you so much for your attention. Allah Hafiz.